Hello students, in previous lectures, in two lectures, we have learned about the role of microbes in household products, and also we have learned about the role of microbes in industrial products. And today we are going to learn about the role of microbes in a sewage treatment. First of all, let me define what is a sewage. Sewage is a municipal wastewater and it will contain large amount of organic matters and the microbes. And such a sewage is treated in special kind of plants, and such a plant in which sewage is treated is called sewage treatment plants, STPs. So you should remember the full form of a STP, that is a sewage treatment plant. So what a sewage treatment plant will do? It will make it less polluting. Okay, so pollutant which are present in the sewage will be minimized in the this type of plants, and it include two stages in the sewage treatment plant. Two stages are there. First is a primary treatment and second is a secondary treatment. Secondary treatment involve microbes, and that's why secondary treatment is also called as a biological treatment. Now let me discuss about primary treatment first. So here you can see in this diagram, you can see, so sewage will be passed from two type of chambers. Okay, first here you can see there is a grid chamber and second one is a sedimentation tank. So it is the physical removal of a particle. Okay, just a physical removal of a particle. Here microbes or any chemicals are not included. So it will include a removal of a floating debris by the sequential filtration. Sequential tanks will be there, sequential chambers will be there, which will, by passing them, it will be filtered out by the sequential filtration. Removal of the grit, that will include a soil and small pebbles. Okay, like you can see here some small pebbles and small soil like particles are removed in the grit chamber, and by the phenomena of sedimentation. You can understand here the soil particle and small pebble, due to a weight, they will be sedimented in the bottom, and by this way it can be removed from the sewage water. So the settle solid from a primary sludge, and this will form a sludge. Okay, and that is called a primary sludge. The solid related settlement, or here you can see a sediments which are settled down in the bottom, is considered as a primary sludge. And supernatant, here you can see this is a supernatant, that is a liquid, totally liquid, and that is a supernatant, and it is called a primary effluent. So by this way, by using primary treatment, a sewage can be classified or differentiated into two fragments. Okay, one is a solid one, and that is called the primary sludge, and second is a liquid one, that is called primary type of effluent. So now let me see what happened during the secondary or biological treatment. Why this is called biological treatment? Because here microbes will be play very important role during this type of a treatment, and that's why secondary treatment also called as a biological treatment. So here you can see aeration tanks, which is specially built aeration tanks are there. Okay, and in which all the process will occur. Now see here primary effluent, which is effluented in the primary treatment. Okay, so primary effluent is passed into the large aeration tank. Okay, here you can see this is a large aeration tank. Okay, and constantly agitated. It will be agitated constantly. Why it is agitated constantly? Because it will add, here it is written aeration tank, that means it will require air, and by agitating it will add some air inside that, and that's why constantly agitation is a very important step. This allows vigorous growth of a useful aerobic microbes. You can understand here air is required in the form, means this is the mixture of gases, which is very important for the growth of aerobic microbes, because these are aerobic microbes which can grow only in the presence of oxygen. And by this way, after the growth of a useful aerobic microbes into flocks, it will be converted. So it will growth, means the growth will be useful microbes, that is aerobic microbes, and finally it is converted into flocks, that is a bacterial associated with the fungal filament. So bacteria, if associated with the fungal filament, and it will prepare like a mesh like structure. Okay, and that is called flocks. Okay, and it is like a semi-solid structure like this. Here you can see this is a mesh like structure. So this is the flocks, mesh like masses of a bacterial and fungal filament, and it will be look like a semi-solid structure. And for suddenly, as per the solid you can see it will be sedimented in the bottom also. So it is the flocks which are also responsible for the sedimentation in the bottom. With the fungal filament, it is generating the mesh-like structure. These microbes consume the organic matter. Okay, so here you can understand a sewage like a water, okay, which is a sewage water, and sewage water contain high amount of pollutant in form of organic matter. So what happen here, as per the growth of aerobic microbes, these aerobic microbes will utilize organic matter and it will convert it into inorganic. Okay, so as it convert in inorganic, it will minimize the pollution. So these microbes consume the organic matter from the effluent, and as a result of that, as they consume organic matter, it will convert it into inorganic form, and by this way this will reduce the BOD. Okay, what is the BOD? That is the biochemical oxygen demand of effluent, and as BOD is reduced, pollution also. Now let me understand more about BOD, that is a biochemical oxygen demand, and also it is called biological oxygen demand. The amount of oxygen. What is the definition of a BOD? The definition of a BOD is here. You can see the amount of oxygen needed for the microorganism to break down. Okay, so what is that BOD? BOD is the amount of oxygen needed for the microorganism for the breakdown of waste material. Okay, that is the organic materials. High BOD indicate means as the indication of a BOD is high, that means it indicate the high level of organic contaminants. And if high level of organic contaminant is there, it meaning that the sewage water contain high pollution. So sewage is equal to organic waste. So sewage inside the sewage water, what is the pollutant? It is in the form of organic waste, and it will decomposer, means decomposer work on that. Okay, the organic waste which are present in the sewage will be decomposed by using such a microbes, and decomposers, that is called the decomposers. Such a microbe is decompose this organic material into inorganic. It is called decomposer, and decomposers will work on sewage and work to break down the waste. Okay, and it will convert into inorganic, means if organic waste is break down into inorganic, at that time some amount of oxygen will be needed by the decomposer, and decomposer is nothing but they are some kind of a bacteria, so which take the oxygen. So such a demand of oxygen which is taken over by the decomposer is called BOD. So high the BOD level, here you can see if BOD is high, means biological oxygen demand is high, that indicate indirectly it will indicate that organic waste is high. And as organic waste is high, it require more time and more energy and more oxygen to convert into inorganic one. That means it will require more oxygen. As a result of that, dissolved oxygen in the wastewater will be less. So high BOD is an indication, or directly it is proportional to the amount of the dissolved oxygen. Means here you can see it is inversely proportional. As BOD is high, dissolved oxygen will be low. Along with organic components, sewage also contain many pathogens, especially fecal coliform. So it will be tested positive for the fecal coliforms. Okay, and it is very essential step during the treatment of the water. Now all of you clear about BOD. What is the BOD? So BOD is the biochemical oxygen demand, and it is indicating amount of oxygen consumed by bacteria, that is a decomposer type of bacteria, to oxidize all the organic matter in the 1 liter of water. So this is the definition of a BOD. What is the BOD? It is required oxygen for the 1 liter of waste water to be treated from organic to inorganic. It is a measure of organic matter present in the water. It is indirect measure of a organic matter present in the wastewater. The greater the BOD, as BOD is high, you can indirectly you can say organic component will be high. So it will indicate the polluting potential. So BOD is one type of measurement by using which you can indirectly proportionally you can assume that which type of pollutant is potentially, how many pollutants are present in the wastewater. After minimizing BOD, the effluent is passed into the settling tank, that is another tank. Okay, this is aeration tank in which you can understand BOD will be lower down, and then processed sewage water will be treated further in the settling tank. So after the BOD is decreased, effluent is then passed into the settling tank where it's the bacterial flocks. Okay, so you know in which bacterial growth will occur with the fungus, and that's why it is called flocks as sediment. Okay, here you can see this is the flocks, it is sedimented. The sediment is called activated sludge. So group of mesh like structure with the bacteria and the fungus combinedly, it is called activated sludge. A small part of activated sludge from here you can see, okay, small part of a sludge will be taken out and it will be pumped back into the aeration tank to serve as a inoculum. So here this sludge will act as a inoculum in the aeration tank. So it will include some bacteria and fungus, okay, which will help to lower down the BOD. After this stage, the remaining sludge is pumped into the last tank, okay, and this last tank is called anaerobic sludge digester, because here all the process will now occur anaerobically. That means in the absence of oxygen. Here some anaerobic bacteria which grow under the absence of oxygen digest the bacteria and fungus in the sludge by the producing gases. Okay, along with that they will produce the gases, and that is a methane gas, hydrogen sulfide gas, and carbon dioxide gas. And these all gases together called a biogas, and which will form a biogas, and the effluent is released into the natural water and natural water bodies like river, streams. Okay, now let me summarize whole process of a secondary treatment or a biological treatment. So first of all, this is the end product of a primary treatment, right? That is the primary effluent. First of all, these primary effluent will be passed in one tank, and that is the aeration tank, inside which a constant agitation will occur. And as a result of that, that aerobic bacteria will be formed or consume organic matter inside that, and it will convert into flocks. And by this way, when aerobic bacteria consume the organic matter, it will convert into inorganic, and a result of that BOD will be reduced. And then the settling tank means that after the treatment of this one, okay, that effluent will be passed into settling tank. So next stage is the settling tank. So effluent will be passed, which is after the minimization of a BOD or reduced BOD, this effluent will be passed into settling tank. Okay, and if BOD is very less, then what happen? Natural water body, it will be inside the natural water body, it will be released. But some amount of sedimentation, that is a semi-solid particle, that is called flocks, will be act as a activated sludge, and that activated sludge will be passed in the anaerobic sludge digester, and some amount of flocks also pass as an inoculum in the aeration tanks. So here you can see after the treatment of a BOD reduction, effluent will be passed in the settling tank. Okay, so all the sediment will be taken out further, okay, and will be passed further, and all the effluent will be removed in the natural water body. Okay, and then what happened? This sediment, out of some sediment, means some amount of sediment will be passed as the inoculum in the aeration tank, and all rest other effluent or the sediment will be passed into anaerobic sludge digester. Okay, and then anaerobic sludge digester, inside the anaerobic sludge digestion, anaerobic bacteria will be work and digest the sludge, and as a result of that, biogas will be formed. That is a mixture of a methane gas, hydrogen sulfide gas, and the carbon dioxide gas. Here in this diagram, you can see the entire process of a sewage treatment. So first of all, treatment will occur. Okay, so overflow, trash and scum and all that. After that, a primary treatment will be initiated, and then aeration. Okay, and due to aeration and all, you can see two type of products will be generated, and that is a primary flocks and primary type of a sludge. Okay, and it will be transferred into the sludge digestion, and another product that is a primary effluent, and that will be transferred in the settling tank. And by this way, in both the tanks, all process will occur, and finally we can get the methane gas. Sewage treatment is very important to minimize the pollution of rivers. Okay, and so we get the drinking water in the pure form, and that's why these sewage treatment plants are very important. And that's why the Ministry of Environment and Forest has initiated Ganga Action Plan for the clarification and purification of a Ganga river, and the Yamuna Action Plan for the purification of the maintenance of a purification of a Yamuna river, and to save from the this is your pollution. Homework for today's lecture, and before we finish this lecture, let me summarize all topic by using one animation video. So look at this video.
Every city or village produces millions of tons of wastewater. Spent water from residences that carry body wastes, excreta, food remains and laundry wastes, to name a few. Similarly, industries spew commercial wastes through wastewater. All such wastewater is called sewage. Have you ever wondered where all this sewage produced by us goes? It certainly cannot be just deposited as it is into rivers or the sea. Sewage is first treated by microbes that are naturally present inside it before it can be safely disposed of in rivers and streams to avoid polluting these water bodies. That is why the Ministry of Environment and Forests has produced the construction of a large number of sewage treatment plants under the Ganga Action Plan and Yamuna Action Plan to save major rivers like the Ganga and Yamuna. In India, microbes are already treating gallons of wastewater inside several sewage plants around the country every day. Let's take a look at how microbes help in sewage treatment. Microbial treatment of sewage usually takes place in two stages: primary and secondary treatment. In the primary stage, the objective is to remove coarse solids and other large and small particles found in sewage. The first step of primary treatment involves filtration, which is followed by grit removal inside a primary settling tank. All the floating debris is removed by sequential filtration, whereas the grit, such as coarse soil or pebbles, is removed via sedimentation. During sedimentation, most organic and inorganic solids settle, while floating materials like grease and plastic rise to the surface and are skimmed off. The settled solids are called primary sludge, while the floating material comprises primary effluents. Primary effluents are now transferred from the primary settling tank to large aeration tanks for secondary treatment, also known as biological treatment. Secondary treatment aims to reduce organic matter in the effluents. In the aeration tanks, the effluents are constantly agitated mechanically and oxygen is pumped into them. As a result, aerobic bacteria naturally present in the effluents grow into flocks, which are mesh-like structures formed by groups of bacteria in association with fungal hyphae or filaments. In the presence of oxygen, these growing aerobic microbes consume the organic matter present in the effluents. This secondary treatment reduces the BOD, or biochemical oxygen demand of water. BOD is an important measure of water quality. It refers to the amount of oxygen needed by bacteria and other microbes to oxidize all the organic matter in 1 liter of water. The BOD of drinking water should be less than 0.5. However, the BOD of raw sewage can be as high as 600 milligrams per liter. That is, the greater the BOD of wastewater, the more polluted it is. Also, it is an indicator of the amount of organic matter present in water. Secondary treatment is continued till BOD decreases considerably. Once this is accomplished, the effluents are transferred to another aeration tank where the flocks of bacteria are gradually allowed to sediment. This sedimented part of sewage is known as activated sludge, which is pumped into large tanks called anaerobic sludge digesters. Here, anaerobic bacteria digest the bacteria and fungi present in the activated sludge and produce a mixture of gases such as methane, hydrogen sulfide, and carbon dioxide. This mixture of gases is also called biogas and is used as fuel since it is inflammable. Methane is the main gas produced from sewage treatment and also serves as fuel. It is used to produce heat in homes and factories. The sludge left after digestion of both aerobic and anaerobic bacteria is used as manure and is called activated sludge. The effluents that now remain from the secondary treatment plant are now fit to be released into natural water bodies like rivers and streams. However, a small part of the activated sludge is pumped back into the aeration tank to serve as inoculums for subsequent treatments. Though the amount of sewage produced increases every year with the population increase and rapid urbanization, microbial treatment of sewage remains the most effective method to date.
In next lecture, we will learn role of microbes in biogas production. So till that, goodbye.